We're sitting here with Mets great Mookie Wilson. Mookie, how are you today?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Now talk about being here today with Citi Tuesday in the program.
First of all, I know Citi Tuesday, of course, is the day that Met fans, could get great savings and rewards, at Citi Field, by the use of their Citi card. I understand that there are a lot of rewards and savings that they'll definitely benefit from it. So, and it's just a special promotion by Mets and the sponsor of Citibank.
We're sitting here with Mets great Ron Swoboda. How are you today, Ron?
I'm great.
Now talk about being here today in the Citi Tuesday program.
Well, you know something, we appreciate, those of us who played a lot of years ago, it's over 40 years, the 69 Mets. I guess we really appreciate the fact that Citibank thinks this is worth their time and energy and investment to bring us back, because otherwise I'd be in New Orleans, doing a Zephyrs game right at this moment, AAA baseball. For them to bring us here and make us aware of what's going on with the program and how we were just informed. You take your little Citibank card out to Citi Field. They make a lot of deals for you. They make it much more economical.
And doing their community outreach, some of their PR work, and even work with some of their sponsors. And I think it gives them, an opportunity to keep the Mets, involved with the community, especially when players are not able to do it on a day-to-day basis. You have veterans like myself and Ron Swoboda who are able to come in and to give a hand, because we are part of the community. Even though we don't play here anymore, we're still part of the community, and we want to make sure we keep those ties open.
Played on a couple of very good teams, and those experiences with solid coaching, quality baseball, lots of baseball. If you read the book Outliers, Malcolm Gladstone's book, it's those numbers of hours. When I was like 18 years old, I played on a baseball team in the summer that played almost 90-some games of baseball. That's every day, twice on Sunday, in the summertime, those 3 months of the summer. I think you have to, for someone like me, it was absolutely essential to play for somebody that really knew the game, that pushed you, that created the opportunity to play that much in the summer.
Unfortunately, I grew up in a very rural area, and sports was not easily accessible at the amateur level or professional. So basically, the things that I learned about sports was pretty much from my parents, who were tremendous baseball fans, but it would have been great to be able to speak with some of the, professional athletes, and maybe then I would have had a better idea of what I was getting into when I got involved. Part of it, and I know growing up that what it would have meant to me to have met guys that played. I would have loved to have met Willie Mays before I started playing. I mean, it would have meant a world of difference to me. And if by my being part of that connection to keep kids involved in the game, that the game has to go on. When we're when we're gone and left this earth, the game will continue, and it's because of people like myself and Ron and the present day players who keep the game alive by speaking with kids, and then kids will pass it down to their kids, and that is the hope that the game will survive.
Some of the stuff we do, obviously, we're getting paid to do public relations. It happens once in a while, or paid to sign memorabilia, which is a whole economy into itself. But I have a few events that I come to New York for, where it's just for charity. You know, you're here to help them raise a few bucks. And you know, when you're going on 68 years old, and the things that you did when you were a kid in your mid-20s are still important to somebody, that they still remember those moments, shows you, it makes you feel so fortunate that you could, you know, be a positive light in somebody's life, and that you know, they would come out and because you're there and support something that's doing good for people right now. Is pretty special.
Now talk about playing in New York and how special it was for you to be able to do that.
I don't think any of us realized in the beginning what it meant to play in New York. My first roommate and buddy was Tug McGraw, the left-handed relief pitcher for the Mets and then for the Phillies, and we had you know, the economics. You know, I made $7,500 in 1965. That was my total baseball salary in 1965 as a rookie with the New York Mets. Tug and I were on the same basis. We went over to dinner with a guy that was a special cop at Shea Stadium, and we went over to his house in Brooklyn, and he had a basement full of old Dodger memorabilia and pictures and headlines framed up on the walls, and team pictures and guys that were his favorite players, pictures of them on the wall. And Tug turned to me and said, "You think we'll ever be up on somebody's wall like that?" And of course, in my you know, prescience, I went, "I don't know." I didn't know, and you know, it turns out, you know, as the years have proven, and as the good fortune of 1969 really provided, you have kind of carved out a place in some people's lives, and it's a pleasant place, you know, and they revisit those memories with joy, and boy, what a neat feeling at this end of your life that you're able to do something like that.
And what was it like for you guys? Because you guys were basically replacing the Dodgers and the Giants at that time as the National League team. So what was it like for you guys to have that?
It was probably for the Mets as a franchise, because they were bringing National League baseball back to New York. I think it was you were forgiven so much, I think, because it was National League baseball. And you know how fans are in New York. When there were three teams here, the Dodgers, Giants, and Yankees, you weren't a baseball fan. You were a Dodger or a Giant or a Yankee fan. There was no overlap. You defended your territory, and you defended your allegiance. And so when two National League teams leave the Big Apple, what a huge vacuum that was. What a disturbance in the souls of so many baseball fans of National League baseball. And so when we came back, we were the golden children. You know, we were the golden child. You know, we were forgiven a lot, and those early Met teams needed to be forgiven a lot. You know, when they came out of the chute losing in 1962, the Mets lost 120 games of a 162 game schedule. And the other thing to remember is they didn't play 162 games. They played 160 games schedule because they had a couple rained out. They didn't make up. They could have lost more. And that's still the record for futility. And you know what? And it's almost in an obverse way, in an odd way. It's like, you know what? They deserved to be that bad. And it stands as an interesting contrast with any other success they have down the road. We were a part of it in 1969, in the 86 team, in the 73 team, and the 2000 team, and all the teams that, you know, had a little taste of success. All can look back to 1962 when they lost 120 games, and that's still a record.
The one thing about the aggressive mentality is most young players, you will see this. Ball players who probably a year ago felt that they were 2 or 3 years away from getting an opportunity to see be invited to spring training. But circumstances has dictated that they probably have an opportunity a little sooner. And their aggressiveness and their enthusiasm, they never give up attitude is refreshing. It's the type of attitudes that you look for, and it's going to pay dividends down the road, even with players that haven't had an opportunity to come up here yet. And I think that's the most impressive thing that I've seen is about these players.
And, do you find any similarities between the team that's on the field now and the team that you played with in '86?
Yeah, there's some similarities. I think that the similarities go with the attitudes. These kids don't give up. They believe that they can win, every ball game, and realistically, they know they can't. But they believe that they have a chance, and that attitude has given an opportunity to be in a lot of ball games, and they're going to get better and better as long as the attitude stays the same.
And talk about being a younger player in New York, because they seem to have such mature at-bats and such a mature attitude about them. So just talk about being a younger player in New York and how they're able to have that mentality of, being able to play the game the right way and not letting anything get to them. Could you speak about that more?
Well, I think that's the one thing that being player development, which I have been in the past couple of years, and in my leagues, that's one thing that we stress to the players, is not to get wrapped up in, everything that's happening around you in New York, because New York is a happening city, and it's very easy to get lost, and we've seen that happen to many ball players, and I think that the organization have made a conscious effort to make sure that at least we can educate these players and bring in media people, bring in PR people, bring in motivated speakers, to inform these kids that this is what you're going to face. Of course, getting here is a different story, and it's reality now, but at least they have that information and they can somewhat prepare for it.
And have you, I know you were on the field with the team at one point in time. Did you ever find yourself sitting down with some of the younger guys and talking to them about your time and giving some of your wisdom?
Yeah, no question. I did it on a daily basis, never in a formal setting. But when you develop a relationship with a lot of the players, they confide in you in a lot of things, and just to be able to relay some of the information, some of the experiences that I've had, and also where I came from. I came from a small town, 500 people, and now I'm playing in New York, and that's an adjustment, and let them know what I had to adjust to and how I made the adjustment, and I would like to think that it has helped some.
I like this current team. This current team has some charming aspects to them. Look, they're overachievers in a lot of people's minds, but I don't know if there's ever such a thing really in a game where you compete. When you're an overachiever, it's because people's expectations were probably incorrect, and they get out there and get after it like a bunch of dogs, and they fight like dogs, and that to me is a very appealing thing when you're talking about a baseball team. The National League East is up for grabs in my book, and these Mets, maybe they don't have all the pieces, but that's what we're playing these games to find out. If they can nail down the back end of that bullpen a little bit in a way that doesn't disappoint you too often, they've got a chance, because they don't seem to have any give up. They don't concede anything, any game. I mean, when they came back and beat Holiday last week with the Phillies, I thought that was big. I thought that was momentous. And they had 2 games they should have won in Miami that got away at the back end of the bullpen. But last night I was at Shea. They beat the Brewers. Francisco kind of hung in there. He got a little scary, but he got it done. And that, you walk out there feeling a little better about it.
Now, do you have any message for the fans at home that are wondering just how you are and just any...
You know what? I'm the luckiest person in the world. I'm married to my wife, Cecilia. It'll be 46 years this year. She's a speech pathologist. She works with head injuries and stroke victims as it affects the speech capability, and I always try to pronounce it correctly, because if I can't say speech pathologist clearly, somebody's going to think, well, she's doing you a lot of good. But we have two sons, and they have families, and we're very much a product of our experience here in New York. It was a blessing then, and it's still with us.
It was scary at first. It was scary at first. I came from a region where sports was, big, especially football, and they are very passionate about the game. But not being a football player, I never experienced the passion that the New Yorkers have with their baseball teams. Win or lose, it doesn't dampen their passion for the game, and I think I was more impressed than intimidated, I think, because it was something that I wasn't used to, but it was a joy to see because that's how I look at it.
Now, if you had a message for the fans at home just watching this, just an overall message, what would it be? Just to come out and support the team, or?
Well, the message that that I could give, I think that most of them already know, and that is, being a fan of the game, it's important. I mean, we all want to win, and that's no question about it. Every player wants to win, but you have to be a fan of the game. I think players have to be a fan of the game before they can be productive players, and I think that fans are rewarded for their commitment to a team and their dedication to support the team, and you have to have patience in the process.